Chapter 195. Friend, I'm lost. Looking for a way home. I'm very sorry for accidentally passing through your territory. I'm getting out of here. We won't touch the prey in your territory. Yang Feng manipulated the Barraman electric sea eel to issue a series of marine extraordinary life forms common language. At the same time, it erupted with an extremely formidable life force. Let's go. But mark your words. If you casually hunt our prey in our territory, together we will tear you to pieces. When the devilfin swordfish saw that the Barraman electric sea eel had admitted defeat, it snorted coldly and dived into the depths of the sea. Level 4 transcendent creatures generally possessed intelligence that was not inferior to that of humans. Of course, because there was no systematic inheritance of knowledge, those extraordinary creatures were generally more stupid than humans. However, they would also instinctively weigh the pros and cons and would not engage in unnecessary battles. Of course, there were no absolutes in the world. As long as there were enough benefits, or if they were mortal enemies, extraordinary creatures would still fight to the death. Humans die for wealth, and birds die for food. Seeing the magic fin swordfish retreat, everyone in the cockpit heaved a sigh of relief. The Barraman giant electric sea eel was indeed stronger than the devilfin swordfish, but this was the territory of the devilfin swordfish. Perhaps there was more than one devilfin swordfish living here. Once the two sides started fighting, more demon fin swordfish would be attracted over, and that would be dangerous. Yang Feng piloted the Barraman electric sea eel to float approximately 50 m below the surface of the sea. With this method, he avoided a lot of unnecessary fights. Most of the powerful marine extraordinary life forms were huge and lived in the deep sea. If there was no need, they wouldn't float to the surface. After passing through several sea areas. Warning! Warning! We've discovered a level 5 extraordinary creature, the demonic dragon osprey, moving in our direction. There's an 80% chance that this ship is its target. Yang Feng's complexion changed greatly and he promptly ordered, "Full power, dive at full speed." The dragon devil osprey was a level 5 extraordinary life form. Its battle prowess was comparable to that of a human starry sky warlock. In the sea of monsters, they made a living by hunting all kinds of powerful marine extraordinary creatures. For the Barraman electric sea eels piloted by Yang Feng, it was simply a terrifying existence akin to a natural predator. Under Yang Feng's command, the Barraman electric sea eel at once sprayed countless gases, absorbed a large amount of seawater, and frantically sank towards the bottom of the sea. Only by sinking to the bottom of the sea would Yang Feng and his party have a slim chance of survival. There was absolutely no chance of victory against the demonic dragon osprey. As soon as the giant Barraman electric sea eel moved, a demigod dragon demon osprey with a wingspan of more than 100 meters flew over from the distant sky. It was extremely handsome, had a pair of sharp beaks, a pair of wings that resembled dragon wings, and 6 sharp hook-shaped claws on its feet. It was emitting a terrifying demigod-level aura. The demonic dragonfish eagle seemed to be riding on a gale, and waves were stirred up wherever it passed. Like a bolt of lightning, it descended from the sky, riding on the power of the wind. It forcefully tore apart the sea and flew toward the depths of the sea with incomparable violence. The Barraman giant electric sea eel struggled with all its might as it dove down frantically. However, its diving speed could not match the flying speed of the demonic dragon osprey. "Brother Yang, let me lend you a hand." Zheng Gong gave a shrill howl, silently recited an incantation, pointed inside the Barraman giant electric sea eel, and cast the level 4 spell Deep Sea Stealth. In a flash, an azure radiance enveloped the Barraman giant electric sea eel. The level 4 spell Deep Sea Stealth was developed by human warlocks for the purpose of diving into the deep sea and searching for all kinds of resources. This spell's power allowed the caster to move freely in the sea, as well as increase the speed of their movement. With the blessing of the level 4 spell Deep Sea Stealth, the movement speed of human warlocks in the sea could even reach the level of some marine extraordinary life forms. With the blessing of the Deep Sea Stealth, the diving speed of the Barraman giant electric sea eel once again rose by a notch. "Open the cockpit, I'll give it a good beating." The Storm Cry's vice captain, Wang Lang, who possessed the cultivation base of a great warlock, said loudly. Yang Feng opened the cockpit door without hesitation. Strong ink. Wang Lang walked to the cockpit entrance, silently recited an incantation, pointed upward, and cast the level 4 spell Strong Ink. A large expanse of black colloid suddenly appeared in the sea, forming a large expanse of colloid-like ink. As if possessing a life of its own, the colloid-like ink quickly spread in all directions, polluting the sea and completely covering it. The colloid-like ink not only obstructed the line of sight, but also obstructed the Dragon Devil Osprey's formidable perception. This was the might of the level 4 spell Strong Ink. The Dragon Devil Osprey's perception was obstructed by the black ink, and it ferociously dove downward, brushing past the Barraman giant electric sea eel piloted by Yang Feng. The Dragon Devil Osprey plunged 1,000 meters into the sea, and then had no choice but to ride the gale and suddenly fly out of the sea and into the sky. Even if the Dragon Devil Osprey was a terrifying demigod-rank extraordinary life form, but it still couldn't contend against the natural pressure of the entire sea of monsters. Diving 1,000 meters into the sea was already its limit. After the Dragon Devil Osprey flew out of the sea, it circled in the sky, before flapping its wings and flying towards another place. In the sea of monsters, the Dragon Devil Osprey had failed to hunt more than once or twice, therefore it didn't take this failure to heart. It's finally gone. Once the Dragon Devil Osprey flew away, the people in the cockpit smiled, and a harmonious atmosphere pervaded the cockpit. After experiencing life and death together twice, the people present were no longer as distant as before, and had become somewhat closer. Yang Feng laughed heartily and said, "Ha, big brother Wang, that strong ink of yours is really exquisite." Wang Lang also smiled contentedly and said, "The essence of battle lies in the choice of different spells. We men who run at sea all year round naturally grasp battle spells related to the sea. We still have some experience in choosing spells for naval battles. Yang Feng, if you want to learn, then I'll teach you." Yang Feng was overjoyed and said, "Many thanks, big brother Wang." Generally, human warlocks wouldn't learn too many spell models. That was because one's mental energy was of utmost priority. In order to construct a spell model in the Spirit Sea, it often took a huge amount of time. Yang Feng had the optical computer's assistance. Constructing spell models in the Spirit Sea was far simpler and more relaxed than other warlocks. What he lacked was a variety of formidable spell models. In Tyrannid subcontinent, level 4 spell models were very precious. In Tyrannid subcontinent, each of the 6 great forces grasped only about 20 level 4 spells. Moreover, there were many duplicates between them. Yang Feng was very interested in collecting all kinds of formidable spell models. Wang Lang smiled, took out a knowledge crystal, and handed it to Yang Feng. This is a knowledge crystal related to the level 4 spell Strong Ink spell model. After you've promoted to a great warlock, then you can study it. Zheng Gong gave a forthright smile, took out a knowledge crystal, poured a dozen or so sea-attributed spell models into it, and then handed it to Yang Feng. "Yang Feng, this is the level 4 spell Deep Sea Stealth spell model. I also have a few level 4 spell models, Deep Sea Supervision, Deep Sea Super Perception, Ice Sea Arrow, Storm. I'll give them all to you." Yang Feng had saved the lives of the Storm Cry's several hundred people. Zheng Gong also found him very pleasing to the eye, and directly gifted him with the sea-attributed spell models in order to thank him for his life-saving grace. Kong Fong Ao hesitated for a moment, took out a knowledge crystal, poured the knowledge of the secret method into it, and then handed it to Yang Feng. "Brother Yang, haven't you always wanted to obtain a secret method for embodiment? Although I'm limited by my oath and can't impart my sect's secret method to you. However, during my adventures, I've obtained an even better secret method for embodiment. This secret method for embodiment, I'll give it to you." When Yang Feng absorbed the knowledge crystal, his eyes flashed with a touch of ecstasy, and he promptly expressed his thanks. "Many thanks, brother Kong Feng. I'm really grateful to you." The secret method that Kong Fong Ao gave Yang Feng was called True Mystic Embodiment Scripture. It was a secret method for practicing embodiment with endless mysteries. There were also different levels of secret methods for practicing embodiment cultivation. Many of the lowest level secret methods for practicing embodiment cultivation could only produce a single embodiment, and the strength of the separated embodiment had to be lower than the cultivation base of the true body. Once the strength of the embodiment was determined, it was very difficult to strengthen it. After condensing a godhead, gods from other planes would consume a large amount of divine power and rare materials to refine an embodiment. Different godheads could condense different embodiments. Feeble divine power rank gods could only condense a single embodiment. The true mystic embodiment scripture was very heaven-defying. As long as one had a treasure of heaven and earth like the life embodiment bead, one could separate an embodiment. Each embodiment could practice cultivation on its own, and could even practice cultivation to a point where it was stronger than the true body, almost like a completely different individual. In this way, the true body and the embodiment could practice cultivation together, and the cultivation speed would increase by several times. Moreover, the true mystic embodiment scripture also recorded this secret method. It could be used to slowly practice cultivation and nourish one's soul after splitting a part of one's soul into an embodiment and then slowly recover. The soul contained the ultimate mysteries of life, and even gods couldn't fully analyze the mysteries of the soul. Many embodiment secret methods didn't have methods to cultivate soul force, and could only allow people to slowly recover. In this way, after splitting an embodiment, the strength of those who practiced embodiment cultivation would be greatly weakened for a period of time. The only weakness of the true mystic embodiment scripture was that it was difficult to find treasures of heaven and earth like the life embodiment bead. Chapter 196. Although Kong Fong Ao and Yang Feng were congenial, but they hadn't known each other for long, so he naturally couldn't give such a precious secret method to Yang Feng. This time, Yang Feng saved Kong Fong Ao's life, and then after going through life and death together, he chose to give this secret method to Yang Feng. Many thanks, Brother Kong Feng. This is my gift to you. It's just a small token of my respect. Please accept it. Yang Feng threw a dimensional badge to Kong Fong Ao. Inside the dimensional badge was a level 4 extraordinary life form rank fire lion and a level 4 extraordinary life form rank ice field demonic snake. Kong Fong Ao received the dimensional badge, glanced at it, and exclaimed in admiration, "Brother Yang, your uncle's alchemy is really amazing. To be able to refine such a secret treasure with such a huge space. Even in the Great Cloud Dynasty, such an alchemist would be regarded as a very amazing alchemist." Yang Feng smiled slightly and didn't continue the topic. A few days later, Yang Feng manipulated the Barraman electric sea eel to cross a few more seas, and a majestic harbor appeared before his eyes. The Hague port was a large port located in the Hague city. It was a large transshipment port. Large armed merchant ships were anchored in the Hague port, many of which were much larger than the D-grade armed merchant ship that Zheng Gong and the others were piloting. There were many subcontinents around the main continent, and the armed merchant ships went to the various subcontinents to carry out sea trade. Although the subcontinents were far from as prosperous as the main continent, but each subcontinent had its own specialty. Through sea trade, those specialty products could be transported to the main continent for sale, and huge profits could be made. When the Barraman electric sea eel approached within 50 kilometers of the port of The Hague, 3 frightening starry sky warlock rank fluctuations suddenly erupted, and a series of scanning spells engulfed the area. "I am the Phoenix Cry Merchant Group's Captain Zheng Gong. This is my identity card. We were attacked by a formidable existence in the Sea of Monsters. We can only ride alchemical golems to the Hague port." Zheng Gong jumped out of the Barraman electric sea eel's cockpit, took out a jade card, and raised it high. The jade card blossomed with rays of light, intertwining with the scanning ripples. "It's indeed the Phoenix Cry Merchant Group's Zheng Gong. Take your men and enter the Hague port in an orderly manner." A faint voice sounded in the sky, and the formidable spirit fluctuations that locked onto Yang Feng and the others immediately disappeared. Zheng Gong said, "Yang Feng, you've just arrived at the Great Cloud Dynasty, so you'd better get an identity jade card. With that identity jade token, it will be more convenient for you to do many things. Otherwise, even if he were to stay in the hotel, he would encounter trouble." I still have some influence in the Hague port. You can stay here for a day or two. I will help you arrange these things properly. Kong Fong Ao also said, yes, Brother Yang, our Great Cloud Dynasty's household registration management is very strict. Without an identity jade card, it can be said that it is difficult to move an inch in the Great Cloud Dynasty. Anyway, we are not in a hurry. Let's stay here for a day or two. You can also have a good taste of the differences between my Great Cloud Dynasty and Tyrannid subcontinent. Yang Feng readily accepted the advice and said, all right. As soon as he entered the Hague port, Yang Feng heard endless rumbling sounds of machinery. Everywhere in the port, there were cranes and all kinds of heavy machinery carrying all kinds of goods. Exuding fluctuations of magic power, magic sports cars of all shapes and sizes continuously drove in the port, transporting all kinds of goods. In the port, many workers were casting spells, using all kinds of spells to load, unload, and do all kinds of other things. Yang Feng felt as if he had arrived at a different world where the level of science and technology was much higher than that of Earth. Moreover, the spells were extremely formidable and the civilization was extremely developed. Yang Feng pointed at the workers casting all kinds of spells and asked Kong Fong Ao somewhat incredulously, these workers are all warlocks? How can this be? Isn't it very difficult for warlocks to practice cultivation? How come there are so many warlocks? Official warlocks are very difficult to be born in such a backward place like Tyrannid subcontinent. But in our Great Cloud Dynasty, on average, one official warlock will be born out of every 100 ordinary people. As for why there is such a disparity, that is because the level of civilization of the two places is fundamentally different. In our Great Cloud Dynasty, 12 years of compulsory education is basically universal. Every child of the right age, as long as they reach the right age to study, can enter a school to learn all kinds of basic knowledge. So long as they are admitted to a university, they are basically apprentice warlocks. Some outstanding elite students have basically already promoted to official warlocks in the university. In our Great Cloud Dynasty, inferior magic stones, intermediate magic stones, superior magic stones, and even top-notch magic stones can already be synthesized in large quantities using all kinds of extraordinary plants. In your Tyrannid subcontinent, a piece of inferior magic stone costs 100 gold coins, but here it only costs 1 silver coin. The exchange rate between magic stones is basically 100 to 1. As long as you have enough inferior magic stones, you can casually exchange them for top-notch magic stones. In our Great Cloud Dynasty, ordinary aristocratic children will use top-notch magic stones to practice cultivation at around the level 1 warlock rank. Once they reach the Great Warlock rank, they will use inferior magic crystals that surpass top-notch magic stones to practice cultivation. Even the most ordinary junior high school students can also use inferior magic stones to practice cultivation. Level 1 to level 4 spell models can be bought in warlock shops. Moreover, our Great Cloud Dynasty spell models are simplified and optimized versions that have gone through countless geniuses. They can make it even easier for people to practice cultivation. Although a lot of the 8 great warlock dynasties' knowledge has been lost in the wars of the previous dynasties. However, most of it has been basically passed down. Our Great Cloud Dynasty is one of the most powerful human warlock dynasties. If we didn't even have this bit of ability, then we would have already been destroyed by those powerful beings from other planes. Kong Fong Ao's words revealed the pride of being a citizen of the Great Cloud Dynasty. Kong Fong Ao said lightly, Tyrannid subcontinent is still the same as it was tens of thousands of years ago, it's really too backward. Yang Feng thought for a moment. Just as Kong Fong Ao said, Tyrannid subcontinent was really backward to the extreme compared to the Great Cloud Dynasty. Tyrannid subcontinent and the Great Cloud Dynasty, the disparity was more than 1,000 times greater than the disparity between Earth's primitive tribes and the United States Empire. Although everyone was on the same planet, but the world they came into contact with was completely different. In Tyrannid subcontinent, a level 2 warlock was already considered an overlord. But in the Great Cloud Dynasty, a level 2 warlock was merely a relatively powerful sailor or soldier. Kong Fong Ao said, of course, Our human physiques can't compare to those of fiends, divine descendants, dragons, and high elves. Even in the Great Cloud Dynasty, ordinary people are the most numerous. Level 1 warlocks and Level 2 warlocks are considered elites. Level 3 warlocks are considered top-notch elites. Great warlocks are considered experts. Starry Sky warlock rank experts are qualified to dominate a region. As for powerful warlocks above the Starry Sky warlock rank, whether it's in the Great Cloud Dynasty or the Western World's Portman Dynasty, they're considered true experts. Their strength can contend with the gods of other planes. Yang Feng asked curiously, since the Great Cloud Dynasty civilization has already progressed so much, then why is Tyrannid subcontinent civilization still so backward? On one hand, it's because we don't want to. On the other hand, Tyrannid subcontinent's rulers also don't want to see civilization progress. Kong Fong Ao gave a contemptuous smile and said meaningfully, the more backward a place is, the more they resist the spread of advanced civilization. Moreover, the resistance often comes from the upper echelons. In the future, if you go to those planes dominated by gods, then you'll see many planes with backward civilizations and full of suffering, just like Tyrannid subcontinent. In fact, it's very simple. Only in ignorant, backward, and full of suffering places will people believe in gods. We people of the Xianxia plane don't have faith, we only believe in our own strength. Among the 7 great warlock emperors, I, Kong Fong Ao, admire the Time Lord the most. He forged the god-murdering spear with the bones of countless ancient gods and the mighty power of a warlock dynasty. From then on, no one in the Xianxia plane could ascend to godhood. It's precisely because of this that the formidable beings of the Xianxia plane were forced to find an evolutionary path without ascending to godhood, thus establishing a brilliant and flourishing warlock civilization. At that time, if the Time Lord had chosen to become a god, then with his terrifying strength, I'm afraid that the entire Xianxia plane would have slowly transformed into his divine country. All of us would have become the slaves of gods, the lambs of gods, and become backward and ignorant. We would only believe in him and live for the sake of believing in him. After listening to Kong Fong Ao, Yang Feng understood why Tyrannid subcontinent was so backward. Previously, all of Tyrannid subcontinent's knowledge and power were in the hands of the 6 great warlock groups as well as the large and small warlock groups attached to them. The warlocks of those warlock groups were existences that stood above the masses. If a civilization like that of the Great Cloud Dynasty were to spread, then their monopoly of superior knowledge would be broken, and their status as superior beings would cease to exist. Therefore, they unconsciously resisted the influence of the continent's civilization. As for the Great Cloud Dynasty, they were also happy to see Tyrannid subcontinent continue to be ignorant, so that they could make huge profits through sea trade. Yang Feng asked curiously, level 1 to level 4 spell models can be bought in the warlock shops, then what about level 4 spell models and knowledge? Kong Fong Ao said, the might of level 4 spell models and knowledge is too formidable, and they're basically in the hands of the major forces. You can choose to join a sect or directly join the imperial court and serve the imperial court. According to your contributions, you can obtain different secret methods and a variety of formidable spell models. Chapter 197. Yang Feng's eyes flickered and he asked solemnly, Brother Kong, which are the 10 great sects of the Great Cloud Dynasty? Kong Fong Ao coughed lightly and said, the 10 great sects of the Great Cloud Dynasty are the Tai Yi sect, the Saint Lotus sect, the Saint Demon sect, the Battle Demon sect, the Bright Moon School, the Star River sect, the Corpse Demon sect, the Puppet sect, the Beast God School, and the Myriad Snow Gate. However, Brother Yang, with your natural talent, I'm afraid you won't be able to enter a single one of the 10 great sects. Yang Feng said, no way, I'm still a level 2 warlock. If I'm not qualified to be an inner disciple, I should be qualified to be an outer disciple or a registered disciple, right? Kong Ho laughed and said, hee hee. My Great Cloud Dynasty has a boundless territory and a population of trillions. Geniuses were as common as the clouds and monstrous as the rain. Almost half of the geniuses were aiming for the top 10 sections. They had no shortage of geniuses. The 10 Great Sects criteria for accepting disciples was that one had to become a level 1 warlock before the age of 13, and one's soul aptitude had to be at least superior level 6. Only youngsters could join and become a disciple in name, then slowly climb up within the sect. Brother Yang, it's basically impossible for you to enter one of the 10 great sections. Yang Feng was speechless. In Tyrannid subcontinent, Jessica's soul aptitude was superior rank 6, she could already be considered a genius among geniuses. But in the 10 great sects of the Great Cloud Dynasty, he isn't even qualified to be a disciple in name. The number of geniuses in the Great Cloud Dynasty can be imagined. Yang Feng asked, half of the Great Cloud Dynasty's geniuses target the 10 great sects, what about the other half? Kong Feng Ao smiled and said, the other half is targeting the Imperial Court. The Imperial Court of my Great Cloud Dynasty is also incomparably powerful. The 3 Grand Ministers and 9 Ministers are all super powerhouses that can rival gods and contend against the sect masters of the 10 great sects. The treatment of high-ranking officials in the Imperial Court was even better than that of the 10 great sections. The Imperial Court also possesses more and more complete secret arts than the 10 great sections. Yang Feng said, however, if you don't have enough strength and background, it will be very difficult to make progress in the Imperial Court, right? Kong Fangao said, that's right. If you weren't a super genius, a peerless demon, that person must have an outstanding background. Otherwise, it would be extremely difficult to advance in the Imperial Court. After graduating from university, most people would choose to enter a sect to further their studies and increase their strength before joining the Imperial Court. On one hand, he could improve his strength, and on the other hand, he could expand his network. The officials of the Imperial Court who came from the same sect will always be closer to each other. They will help each other and improve faster. Yang Feng contemplated for a moment before saying, I still want to join the 10 great sects. Brother Kong, is there no other way? In the Great Cloud Dynasty, one must be very cautious when joining a sect. Once one joined a sect, it would be extremely difficult to join another sect. The slightest bit of carelessness would offend 2 sects, and his future would be bleak. Kong Feng Ao pondered for a long time. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he said, I got it. Didn't you kill the clone of Demon Emperor Cartman of the demon race? The Battle Demon sect is warlike and addicted to fighting. It sweeps out the demons, conquers countless planes, and suppresses the enemies of the Great Cloud Dynasty. The Battle Demon sect once said that as long as you can kill a Starry Sky Warlock rank being that invaded the Xianxia plane from another plane and is willing to accept the Battle Demon sect's assessment, then you will be considered as a disciple. You killed the Demon Emperor Cartman's clone. If you pass the Battle Demon sect's assessment, then you may join the Battle Demon sect and become a member. Yang Feng's eyes lit up and he said, oh, there's such a thing. It seems that I have to take a trip to the Battle Demon sect. However, Brother Kong, I don't know the way. It seems that I'll have to trouble you to take us to the Battle Demon sect. If a person like Yang Feng, who came from a small place like the Tyrannid subcontinent, were to rashly join the Great Cloud Dynasty's Imperial Court, then he would only be able to become an ordinary patrolman. He wouldn't even be able to become an official. In such a strict system, it would be very difficult for Yang Feng to climb up. Joining the Battle Demon sect was the best choice for people like Yang Feng who yearned for instant success. This was also the reason why there were so many people flocking to the 10 great sects. Kong Feng Ao said with a smile, all right. Zheng Gong quickly completed a series of procedures and handed 2 identity cards to Yang Feng and Shi Shui. 2 days later, the Hague Port's airship parking lot. In the Hague Port's airship parking lot, there were several hundred meters long airships with countless mysterious runes engraved on their sails. Rays of magic light flashed, and a huge metal cover extended from the huge spaceships, completely covering the upper half of the spaceships. Some of them even activated a faint protective barrier. Immediately after, countless gales enveloped the huge spaceships, lifting them up and sending them flying into the sky. How spectacular! Standing around the airship parking lot, Yang Feng exclaimed in admiration as he watched the airships flying into the sky. The airships were the perfect combination of the Xianxia plane's spells and machinery. Shi Shui asked curiously, Big Brother Kong, why do some of the airships have metal covers, while others don't? Kong Fong Ao explained, the ones with metal covers are ordinary airships, while the ones without metal covers are luxury airships. The luxury airships need to release the Level 3 Area of Effect spell air barrier at all times to protect the entire airship, so that the passengers can enjoy the scenery below from the deck. Moreover, the defensive strength of the Level 3 spell air barrier is stronger than that of many steel alloy shells. It's much safer to sit in the luxury airships. Yang Feng said, Kong Fong Ao, are there teleportation arrays that lead directly to the demon fighting province? The 10 great sects had a venerable status in the Great Cloud dynasty. Each of them was entrenched in a greater province and possessed monstrous power. Among the Great Cloud dynasty's 36 greater provinces, 10 of them were named after the 10 great sects. Kong Fong Ao said with a somewhat strange smile, there are. The Great Cloud dynasty's teleportation arrays can be found in major cities. However, from the Hague city to the demon fighting province, you have to pass through 6 lesser provinces and 3 greater provinces. If you want to use the teleportation array to go to the demon fighting province, you have to pay 100,000 inferior magic crystals. Are you sure you want to use the teleportation array? Yang Feng's complexion changed greatly and he exclaimed, 100,000 inferior magic crystals. So expensive? In the Tyrannid subcontinent, magic crystals were extremely precious treasures. Only some of the highest-grade magic stone veins and Warlock College and Talia's large energy-absorbing ancient trees would produce some every year. Yang Feng had plundered more than half of the Tyrannid subcontinent's wealth, yet he only had 100,000 inferior magic crystals. It was only enough for him to teleport to the demon fighting province. This filled him with shock. Kong Fengao said, of course. The longer the teleportation distance, the more energy is consumed. The distance between the Hague city and the demon fighting province is more than 1 million kilometers. The amount of energy consumed to teleport over such a long distance can be well imagined. This kind of teleportation array isn't something that ordinary people can use. Yang Feng coughed lightly and said, then I'll take the airship. Magic crystals were more precious than top-notch magic stones for cultivation. Yang Feng wasn't willing to spend magic crystals on teleportation. Originally, Yang Feng had plundered more than half of the Tyrannid subcontinent's wealth and thought that even if he wasn't the richest in the world, he was still a millionaire. However, when he arrived at the Great Cloud dynasty, he truly understood that he was at most a little wealthy. There was still a terrifying gap between him and the truly wealthy. After buying the tickets, Yang Feng and his party boarded a luxurious airship. Magic radiances flickered, and the luxurious airship immediately rose into the air and flew towards the horizon. Standing on the deck of the luxurious airship, Yang Feng leaned against the railing and looked down, appreciating the scenery below. The speed of the luxurious airship far surpassed the speed of sound. However, there wasn't a trace of wind on the deck, nor was there any noise. The flight was extremely smooth, making people feel as if they were on land. Yang Feng looked at the scenery below and mused, the Great Cloud dynasty is really high-end. Its level of technology is who knows how many streets ahead of Earth's. The Tyrannid subcontinent simply can't compare to it. The technological content of the luxurious airship far surpassed that of the various planes on Earth. Its safety factor was also far greater than that of the various planes on Earth. If this luxurious airship appeared on Earth, then all major airline companies would go bankrupt. 1 month later, we have arrived at the demon fighting province. Passengers, please disembark in an orderly manner. In a spacious and splendidly decorated airship parking lot, Yang Feng alighted from the luxurious airship and heaved a long sigh of relief. After flying for a whole month, Yang Feng felt extremely stifled. Now that he alighted from the airship, he heaved a long sigh of relief. Kong Fong Ao said with a slight smile, let's go. We'll take the gravity-free suspended light trolley. This trolley is relatively fast. We can reach the demon fighting sect in about 30 minutes. The ticket price isn't expensive either. Each person is a top-notch magic stone. Yang Feng's face twitched slightly and he sighed inwardly, A ticket price of a top-notch magic stone. The Great Cloud Dynasty really has a lot of nouveau riches. In the Tyrannid subcontinent, for the sake of a top-notch magic stone, great warlock rank experts would fight openly and covertly. Level 3 warlocks would treasure a piece of it. In the Great Cloud Dynasty, a ticket cost a top-notch magic stone. The exorbitant cost was simply appalling. Under Kong Fong Ao's lead, Yang Feng and his party left the airship parking lot and went outside. The outside world was filled with high-rise buildings, extremely spacious streets, and all kinds of top-notch sports cars could be seen everywhere. The people wore a wide variety of fashionable and beautiful clothes, not losing out to those of Earth in the slightest. In addition to the sports cars on the ground, there were also transparent tracks about 50 meters in the sky. On those transparent tracks, there were wheel-less sports cars flickering with magic radiance. When Kong Fong Ao saw Yang Feng's gaze fall on the hover sports cars, he explained, "Those are gravity-free hover sports cars. They are currently the most advanced magic sports cars of the Great Cloud Dynasty." These sports cars use top-notch magic stones as their power source. They don't produce any exhaust, the sound of the engine is small, and their speed is much faster than that of traditional magic sports cars. Their emergence has greatly alleviated the traffic pressure in the urban area. However, some people are of low quality and always like to throw things high up in the sky. Managing them is a bit of a headache. Yang Feng said, "The Great Cloud Dynasty's alchemy level is really advanced." Kong Fong Ao said proudly, "That's only natural. The reason why the Great Cloud Dynasty is able to suppress countless planes is because of the formidable alchemy and the endless inheritance of knowledge." Yang Feng smiled slightly and didn't say much. Under Kong Fong Ao's lead, Yang Feng arrived at a subway station and stood next to a platform. Crackle crackle. Amidst a series of crisp sounds, countless bolts of lightning flashed, and a white train suspended on the track with countless mysterious runes carved on it suddenly appeared on the platform. Kong Fong Ao was both proud and somewhat regretful. Gravity-free suspended optoelectronic vehicle, this is the most advanced magic train of the Great Cloud Dynasty. Its speed has already reached 1,000 times the speed of sound, and at full speed, it can travel 340 kilometers per second. Its only drawback is that the construction cost is too high, and it cannot be manufactured on a large scale. Ordinary people also find it difficult to afford the ticket price of a top-notch magic stone, and it is very difficult to popularize it throughout the country. Only some greater provinces have such gravity-free suspended optoelectronic vehicles. Yang Feng looked at the white train, and a touch of shock flashed past the abyss of his eyes. 1,000 times the speed of sound, that's too heaven-defying. After buying tickets and boarding the gravity-free suspended optoelectronic vehicle, Yang Feng and his party boarded the train. As soon as he entered the train, Yang Feng could feel a gentle force being released from the train and wrapping around his body. Kong Fong Ao warned, "Don't resist or destroy this layer of magic power. Otherwise, traveling at super high speeds will cause you harm." When the gravity-free suspended optoelectronic vehicle was first launched on the market, many idiots destroyed this layer of magic power. As a result, they were turned into a pile of minced meat. Yang Feng nodded and didn't move. "The train is about to depart. Please don't destroy the spell protecting your body. The train is about to depart. Please don't destroy the spell protecting your body. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences." After the announcement was made several times, the voice disappeared. Electric lights flickered around the train. Yang Feng only felt a slight pull on his body, and then calmed down. "We have arrived at the demon-fighting sect. Passengers, please alight in an orderly manner." Before long, a voice came from the train. Yang Feng and his party alighted from the train and left the exclusive station of the gravity-free suspended optoelectronic vehicle. Once they left the station, a majestic city with a several hundred-meter tall city wall engraved with countless mysterious runes appeared before Yang Feng's eyes. On top of the city wall, there were built one after another 9-story tall warlock pagodas, for a total of 36 9-story tall warlock pagodas. Each 9-story tall warlock pagoda exuded terrifying fluctuations of power, as if a god was stationed there. Chapter 198. Above the city wall, there were teams of soldiers constantly patrolling. Every soldier had the terrifying strength of a level 3 warlock, while the captains of the soldiers had the strength of a great warlock. In the Tyrannid subcontinent, Yang Feng's level 2 warlock rank strength could already be considered a hegemon. Yet in the demon fighting sect, it was difficult for him to even be an official soldier. This was the domineering and underlying strength of the Great Cloud Dynasty's 10 great sects. People from the Great Cloud Dynasty had a sense of confidence and pride wherever they went. That was because the Great Cloud Dynasty was extremely powerful, and they were proud of being a part of the Great Cloud Dynasty. Kong Fengao said, "This is the Demon Fighting City. The Demon Fighting Sect is an exchange window open to the public. Basically, the Demon Fighting Sect's disciples in name live here. Behind the Demon Fighting City is the Demon Fighting Mountain Range, where the Demon Fighting Sect's outer sect disciples and inner sect disciples live. Above the Demon Fighting Mountain Range is the Demon Fighting Floating Island. The Demon Fighting Floating Island is the core of the Demon Fighting Sect, where the true disciples and many great elders live." Yang Feng nodded slightly. After accepting the identity verification from Kong Fengao, they entered the Demon Fighting City. The Demon Fighting City was extremely bustling with people coming and going. It was even more crowded than the big cities on Earth such as Beijing and Shanghai. However, the layout of the Demon Fighting City was extremely scientific, and the streets were spacious. At the same time, there were countless floating flyovers intertwining in midair, forming a huge transportation network. Everyone walked within the huge transportation network without the slightest feeling of congestion. Yang Feng was dazzled as he walked inside the Demon Fighting City. He only felt that it was a novelty. It was like Granny Lu entering the Grandview Garden. No matter how much he looked, he couldn't get enough of it. Everything here was different from the Tyrannid subcontinent. At the same time, the air inside the Demon Fighting City also contained extremely pure magic energy. The concentration of the magic energy wasn't the slightest bit inferior to the concentration of the magic energy in the Tyrannid subcontinent's 5-storied Warlock Tower's elemental pools. In the center of the Demon Fighting City, there stood a super-large purification tower, which exuded powerful purification fluctuations that neutralized the life magic energy unconsciously dispelled by the powerful warlocks and prevented the birth of freaks. Even ordinary people who weren't warlocks could live very well inside the purification tower. Under Kong Fengao's lead, Yang Feng and his party arrived before a towering, no less than 300-story tall silver building. In front of the silver building stood a huge sign, Fighting Demons Sect External Office. As soon as Yang Feng entered the building, he saw 4 12 to 13-year-old little boys and little girls, respectively, handling the school admission procedures on 4 counters in an orderly manner. When Yang Feng's group of 3 entered the building, they attracted gazes. Shi Shui's appearance was approximately 15 years old. Her temperament was clear and cold, and she was extremely beautiful. Instantly, everyone's gazes were drawn to her. Under Shi Shui's astonishing beauty, Yang Feng and Kong Fengao were reduced to supporting roles. A demon fighting sect's outer sect disciple, who looked to be in his 20s, gave a slight smile and handed an identity jade card to a very beautiful and adorable little girl, Shu Jingman, 13 years old, inferior level 7 soul aptitude, current strength, level 1 warlock. Use the orthodox warlock's cultivation method to practice cultivation. If you are qualified, you can become an in-name disciple of the Battle Demon Sect. This is your identity jade token. Come over tomorrow to receive guidance and choose a secret technique. The little girl said with a sweet smile. Thank you, Big Brother Ming. Ming Xing said with a slight smile. You're welcome. That's because you met the requirements. That's why I was able to recruit you. If you didn't meet the requirements, then I couldn't do anything about it. Inferior level 7 soul aptitude. Such a little girl's soul aptitude can be compared to Carolina's and Cheyenne's. The demon fighting sect really has as many geniuses as dogs, and experts are everywhere. After Yang Feng swept Shu Jingman and Ming Xing with a glance, he suddenly felt a great pressure. Although Ming Xing was only an outer sect disciple, but Yang Feng could already feel that the life force he emitted had already reached the pinnacle Great Warlock realm and was infinitely close to the Starry Sky Warlock realm. It was the strength of Tyrannid subcontinent's Overlord rank experts like Aldrich, Carolina, and Anthony. Xu Jingman walked to Shue's side, her big black and white eyes flashed with a touch of craftiness, and she said with a cute smile, "Big sister, my name is Xu Jingman. Are you also here to take the demon fighting sects entrance test?" Shui gave a sweet smile and hugged Yang Feng's arm. Her pretty face blossomed with endless brilliance, and she was incomparably beautiful. "I am Shui. If big brother Yang Feng joins the demon fighting sect, then I'll join the demon fighting sect. If big brother doesn't join, then I won't join." The gazes of the people in the building, regardless of gender, were attracted by Shui. Among them, the two little boys who came to handle the admission procedures couldn't help but reveal a trace of jealousy in their eyes. "Big sister Shui, your big brother Yang Feng is a bit too old. I think it'll be very difficult for him to join the demon fighting sect." A 12 or 13-year-old handsome youngster with short black hair and even a trace of femininity came over. He imitated the bearing of an adult and said with a slight smile, "My name is He Feng, superior level 6 soul aptitude, level 2 warlock rank cultivation base, and I've just obtained the admission qualifications of the demon fighting sect. Big brother Yang Feng, you can come to my place and take the entrance test. If you can't pass the entrance test, then I can introduce you to a low-grade sect in the spiritual state's Green Wolf County. Our He family still has some prestige in the Green Wolf County." "All right." Yang Feng was somewhat speechless as he watched this little brat, who hadn't even fully grown his hair, show off his family background and pick up girls. When he was 12 years old, he was a young pioneer who didn't understand anything. His most outrageous action was to pull the hair of a girl he liked in order to attract her attention. Yang Feng walked up to Han Ning, an outer sect disciple of the demon fighting sect. Han Ning swept Yang Feng with a glance. His eyes blossomed with traces of magic fluctuations, and a yellow radiance shot out from his eyes and fell on Yang Feng. Yang Feng suddenly felt a prying force pervade his body. Han Ning withdrew his spell and said politely, "Yang Feng, 29 years old, intermediate level 6 soul aptitude, Black Dragon's blood meridians, level 2 warlock rank cultivation base. Yang Feng, I'm sorry, you don't meet the requirements to join the demon fighting sect. Basically, the demon fighting sect rarely recruits blood meridian warlocks, because the potential of blood meridian warlocks is really limited. Only blood meridian warlocks with a moonlight warlock rank or above might be recruited by the demon fighting sect. The demon fighting sect isn't the most outstanding in researching the power of blood meridians, but rather the Beast God School and the Myriad Snow Gate. You should go to those two sects and give it a try." Yang Feng smiled bitterly inside. The Beast God School and the Myriad Snow Gate were indeed the two great sects with the most outstanding in researching the power of blood meridians in the Great Cloud Dynasty. However, as part of the 10 great sects, these two great sects had extremely high requirements for their disciples. Yang Feng had no chance of joining the two great sections. The two precocious boys also revealed looks of disdain. Xu Jingman and the other outstanding little girl also revealed looks of disappointment. It was easy for blood meridian warlocks to practice cultivation in the early stages, but later on, it would be very difficult to practice cultivation, as they would be shackled by the bloodline. If it was a formidable bloodline of the Moonlight Warlock rank or above, they would still receive some attention. Black Dragon bloodline, at most, could only be practiced until the Great Warlock rank bloodline. In some small places of the Great Cloud Dynasty, but in the demon fighting sect and the other 10 great sects, it was synonymous with no potential. This is the clone of the demon Emperor Cartman that descended to the Tyrannid subcontinent from the Demonus plane and was killed by me. I heard that the demon fighting sect specially recruits heroes who are willing to kill foreign enemies of other races for the Great Cloud Dynasty. As long as you kill a Starry Sky Warlock rank freak that invaded the Xianxia plane from another plane, you'll get a chance to join the demon fighting sect. Since I killed the demon Emperor Cartman, I should be given a chance to take the assessment, right? Yang Feng took out a box and opened it, revealing the severed head of the demon Emperor Cartman's clone. A remnant demigod rank and extremely ferocious might immediately pervaded the area. Under the remnant might of the severed head of the demon Emperor Cartman's clone, He Feng and the little boy called Wang Shuang had their complexions change greatly, and they couldn't help but take a dozen steps back. The pretty complexions of Shu Jingman and the other girl called Wang Yi also changed, and they retreated again and again, their beautiful eyes flashing with a touch of fear. He Feng and the other three were indeed peerless geniuses with outstanding talent. But they were too young, and had always been practicing at home, rarely going out to fight. That was why they were frightened by the severed head of the demon Emperor Cartman's clone. Shu Jingman's pretty complexion changed, and her beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of fear. He could actually kill such a freak. That's really terrifying. Han Ning was first startled, then his gaze congealed and his expression became solemn. Suddenly, a terrifying pinnacle great warlock rank life force converged, and he stared at Yang Feng and said while stressing each syllable, "You killed it? That's impossible, right? Yang Feng, you have to know that there's a price to pay for playing tricks on the demon-fighting sects people. It's still not too late to take back your words. Otherwise, once I cast a spell and discover that you lied to me, then I might even take action and kill you here." The Daoist Plains demon emperor rank experts were formidable beings that could contend against gods. His clone also possessed starry sky warlock rank strength. Han Ning wasn't a match for his clone, so he didn't believe that Yang Feng killed him with his own hands. The other three demon-fighting sects' outer sect disciples also revealed unkind gazes and stared coldly at Yang Feng. Although they had always appeared very kind, but they had the arrogance of the demon-fighting sect's disciples in their hearts. If someone dared to play tricks on them, then they wouldn't mind getting rid of that person. Even if they made a scene in the sect would only praise them and wouldn't scold them. Even in the Great Cloud Dynasty where laws were strict, colossi like the 10 great sects still had a lot of privileges. This was the real reason why countless geniuses flocked to join the 10 great sects. No one would dare to behave atrociously in a place like the demon-fighting sect, otherwise, only death would await them. This was also a great difference from Earth. In essence, the Xianxia plain was still a plain where the strong preyed on the weak. Chapter 199. Yang Feng said calmly, "I was the one who killed him. The correct way to put it is that I first severely injured him, then besieged him with a group of subordinates. Finally, I killed him with my alchemical golem. You can use a spell to test me. Everything I said is true." Han Ning silently recited an incantation, pointed at Yang Feng, and a spell to detect lies suddenly fell on Yang Feng. A white radiance suddenly lit up on Yang Feng. Han Ning's eyes flashed with a touch of incredulity, and he praised sincerely, "What you said is true. You can actually kill him. That's amazing." The other three demon-fighting sects' outer sect disciples also revealed looks of admiration. The demon Emperor Cartman was a powerful being of the Daoist plane, comparable to a god. Within the demon-fighting sect, only true disciples and great elders had the ability to deal with him. Even the demon-fighting sect's inner sect disciples might not be able to kill his avatar. No matter what method Yang Feng used, to be able to kill an avatar of the demon Emperor Cartman, that was a very remarkable thing. Han Ning said with a smile of admiration, "Yang Feng, to be able to kill an avatar of the Daoist plane, you're a hero. However, I have to warn you. The difficulty of the demon-fighting sect's assessment is very high. If you're the slightest bit careless, then even a starry sky warlock rank expert will die." Yang Feng asked, "What assessment? Can you tell me first so that I can be mentally prepared? It's best to choose the simplest one. After all, I only have a level 2 warlock cultivation base." If the difficulty of the demon-fighting sect's assessment was too high, then Yang Feng could only choose to give up. After all, he only had one life. If he died, then he would have nothing left. Han Ning said, "I'll help you choose the simplest one. However, you have to be mentally prepared. Even the simplest test mission would be extremely difficult for you. It's almost impossible to complete. After all, these assessment tasks are originally aimed at Starry Sky Warlock rank experts and above. Yang Feng nodded silently. He was aware of the demon-fighting sect's assessment rules, but he still wanted to give it a try. Han Ning took out a jade booklet and flipped through it. His eyes lit up and he said, "I got it. Feisua plane, one of the 36 primary material planes. Your test is to sneak into this plane, kill a demigod powerhouse, and bring his head back to the demon-fighting sect. There is no time limit for this mission." Yang Feng exclaimed, "One of the 36 primary material planes, wouldn't that be a place where legends roam the streets and demigods are as common as dogs? For a trifling level 2 warlock like me to go there, wouldn't that be courting death?" The 36 primary material planes were the 36 huge planes with countless powerful existences discovered by the Xianxia plane's human warlocks. Among the 36 primary material planes, powerhouses were as common as clouds and rain. None of them was inferior to the Xianxia plane. Only when the 7 warlock emperors established their states could the human warlocks completely suppress the other 35 primary material planes, forcing the powerful existences of the 35 primary material planes to obey the commands of the human warlock dynasties. During the time of the 8th warlock dynasty, the Dawn dynasty, it merely maintained its position as the leader of the 36 primary material planes. It didn't have the ability to command the other 35 primary material planes. Han Ning smiled and said, "It's not that exaggerated. On the Feisua plane, there were many divine systems. There were the human divine system, the elven divine system, and the beastman divine system. Among the 3 major divine systems, there were the human divine system, the elven divine system, and the beastman divine system. For example, the elven divine system was divided into the elven divine system and the dark elven divine system. There were also camps among the gods, and there were open and veiled struggles between them. With your experience traveling in the Tyrannid subcontinent, you will definitely be able to integrate well into the Feisua plane. If you enter the Demoness plane or the Dawn plane, then you won't have a chance of survival." Yang Feng pondered for a moment and then said, "If I go to the Feisua plane, then only by igniting my godfire and becoming a god can I slay a demigod. Is there no problem with that?" "There is no problem. In fact, many of the gods of other planes are human warlocks of the Xianxia plane. Fearing that their lifespan would run out and they would die, they would directly run to those planes, ignite their godfire, and become the god of that plane. However, Yang Feng, once you ignite your godfire and become a god on the Feisua plane, then you will have a huge connection with the Feisua plane. After igniting your godfire, your true body will not be able to leave the Feisua plane. You can only leave the Feisua plane with an embodiment. Once your true body leaves the Feisua plane, you may suffer a backlash from the plane, your godhead will collapse, and your divine power will disappear. This is the price of becoming a god. We warlocks are free. We can go to any plane, and no power can bind us. From the moment a god is born on a plane, they are linked with the rise and fall of the entire plane. If the plane in which the god resides dies, then the god will also die. That scene is known as the Twilight of the Gods." Han Ning said, "The demon-fighting sect had a very long inheritance and had explored countless planes. There was a lot of knowledge in the sect. Han Ning, a trifling outer sect disciple, had so much knowledge that it made Yang Feng blush with shame." Yang Feng pondered for a moment, then his eyes blossomed with a glint, and he said in a clear voice, "I accept the test." Han Ning said with a hearty smile, "Good, you're a real man. If you accept the task, then you can come here tomorrow. We will open the library and let you study for 3 months. Only after you have grasped the basic knowledge of the Feisua plane and the current situation will we open the planar passageway and send you over. However, you have to think it over clearly. Once you study in our library and are unwilling to participate in the test, then we will impose sanctions on you." Yang Feng responded faintly, then grabbed Xianxia beside him and said, "This is my younger sister Xianxia. She also wants to participate in the demon-fighting sect's entrance test." Han Ning's gaze swept Xianxia, and his eyes flashed with a touch of amazement. He smiled slightly, then silently recited an incantation. His eyes blossomed with 2 magic radiances that fell on Xianxia. Superior Level 8. Superior Level 8 Soul Aptitude. Her soul aptitude is Superior Level 8. Han Ning only took a glance at Xianxia, then his complexion suddenly changed greatly, his eyes brimming with shock, and he cried out involuntarily. What? Superior Level 8 Soul Aptitude. Superior Level 8 Soul Aptitude, quickly inform the elders. The complexions of the 4 demon-fighting sects disciples changed greatly. They immediately got up and surrounded Xianxia, staring at her with scorching gazes. Geniuses were as common as clouds in the Great Cloud Dynasty. Basically, those who entered the demon-fighting sect had superior level 6 soul aptitude, and there was no lack of peerless geniuses with around level 7 soul aptitude. However, level 8 soul aptitude was as rare as phoenix feathers and qilin horns. Superior level 8 soul aptitude was even rarer, rarely seen in a millennium. The higher the soul aptitude, the fewer elixirs that could enhance their soul aptitude. Superior level 8 soul aptitude, Yang Feng's various soul aptitude enhancing elixirs were of no use. Even the Rose Divine Pool was of no use to Xianxia's soul aptitude. Kong Feng Ao stared at Xianxia with somewhat bloodshot eyes and complained, Superior level 8 soul aptitude, Yang Feng, you really hid it from me. Superior level 8 soul aptitude, such a genius was rarely seen even in the entire Great Cloud Dynasty. When Kong Feng Ao thought of such a genius hanging around him, he felt as if he was in a dream. Yang Feng said with a smile, Heh, you didn't ask me. Where's the person with superior level 8 soul aptitude? With a flicker of magic radiance, an old man dressed in a blue robe appeared in the hall, exuding incredibly formidable fluctuations of power, as if a god walking in the secular world. Yang Feng's complexion changed slightly. He could vaguely feel that the terrifying power exuded by the old man dressed in a blue robe could even contend with the power he sensed from the goddess Lolth. An extremely beautiful young woman dressed in a red warrior's attire, looking like a flame, strangely appeared beside Xianxia. She swept Xianxia with a glance and said with great satisfaction, Little girl, are you the one with superior level 8 soul aptitude? Not bad. To possess the strength of a level 3 warlock at such a young age, truly remarkable. I'm Yu Wuxian, one of the great elders of the demon-fighting sect. Little girl, how about becoming my personal disciple? As soon as she said that, the 4 outer sect disciples of the demon-fighting sect immediately revealed envious expressions. Yu Wuxian was one of the great elders of the demon-fighting sect, her strength tyrannical. To be accepted by her as a personal disciple was something that even true disciples of the demon-fighting sect yearned for, let alone outer sect disciples of the demon-fighting sect. The old man dressed in a blue robe frowned and said, Yu Wuxian, shouldn't there be a first-come, first-served basis for everything? I came first, so this disciple should be mine. Ordinary geniuses were fine. Superior level 8 soul aptitude was simply a freak among freaks. Even in the entire Great Cloud Dynasty, it was a rare genius that appeared once in a millennium. Yu Wuxian said coldly, Chao Iha, I'm taking this disciple. She's a little girl. You're an old man, taking a little girl as your disciple, don't you feel ashamed? Huang Iha was also one of the great elders of the demon-fighting sect. His strength was tyrannical, comparable to that of a god. Unmoved, Huang Iha said with a faint smile, On the path to eternal life, there's only master and disciple, there's no distinction between men and women. I won't give up. Yu Wuxian was silent for a moment, and then said, You and I are equal in strength and status. It's better to let this little girl choose her own master, what do you think? Huang Iha said decisively, All right. Yu Wuxian asked directly, Little girl, between him and me, which one do you want to be your master? Huang Iha replied, Little girl, if you choose me as your master, then I'll definitely teach you everything I know. With your talent, as long as you practice diligently under my guidance, you'll be able to promote to a glorious dawn warlock within 1,000 years. The eyes of the 4 outer sect disciples of the demon-fighting sect almost spewed fire with jealousy. They were all geniuses with superior level 6 soul aptitude, but it was already very difficult for them to promote to the Great Warlock Realm, let alone promote to the Starry Sky Warlock Realm. As for the Moonlight Warlock Realm, they didn't even dare to think about it. As for the Glorious Dawn Warlock Realm, even in the Great Cloud Dynasty, they were pinnacle experts with lofty status and strength comparable to gods. Chapter 200. Yu Wuxian said with a proud smile, "Whatever old bastard Chao can promise you, I can promise you everything. As long as you become my personal disciple, the Glorious Dawn Warlock rank won't be a problem." Shi Shui very obediently bowed respectfully to the two great elders of the Battle Demon sect and said, "Two seniors, I am very grateful for your kindness. However, I hope to be with Big Brother Yang Feng. As for choosing a master, I'll choose whoever Big Brother Yang Feng wants me to choose." Huang Yihe frowned and said, "Yang Feng? Who's that?" Han Ning promptly pointed at Yang Feng and said, "Great Elder, this is Shi Shui's big brother Yang Feng. Blood Meridian Warlock? Black Dragon's Blood Meridian? His potential is too low." Huang Yihe's eyebrows creased slightly, saying, "Why did he come to the demon fighting sect with such aptitude?" Han Ning said, "He killed a Starry Sky Warlock rank clone of a Demonist Plains demon emperor that descended on the Tyrannid subcontinent. He hopes to join the demon fighting sect through the assessment." Huang Yihe said with slight surprise, "He wants to join the demon fighting sect through the assessment? Little guy, I didn't expect you to have some backbone." Huang Yihe was very clear about the difficulty of the demon fighting sect's entrance assessment. For a level 2 warlock like Yang Feng to participate in such an assessment, it was practically a matter of life and death. Yu Wuxian said coldly, "You don't need to take the assessment. I can make an exception and let you become a disciple in name of the demon fighting sect. If you have the ability, then slowly climb up. Let your little sister Shi Shui choose me as her master. In the future, I'll give you some guidance and let you get more benefits." Yang Feng said with a slight smile, "Thank you, senior. However, there's no need to make an exception. Junior wants to participate in the demon fighting sect's assessment and join the demon fighting sect in an upright manner." The Feisua plane was extremely chaotic and had many divine systems. Such a plane was the best place to fish in troubled waters. On the Feisua plane, Yang Feng's clone and Shizu robots would be of great use. Yu Wuxian was slightly surprised and said with a faint smile, "You have backbone. I misjudged you. I originally thought that you wanted to borrow your little sister's talent to join the demon fighting sect. Not bad, kid, I'm starting to like you a little. As long as you can complete the fighting demon sect's assessment this time, I can directly guarantee that you will become an inner disciple of my fighting demon sect." Huang Yihe grinned, "Hee, interesting. Yang Feng, if you can complete the demon fighting sect's assessment, I'll accept you as a personal disciple." Yang Feng said with a smile, "Thank you for your kindness, seniors. Shui, I think Great Elder Yu Wuxian is more suitable for you. You should take her as your master." Shi Shui was very well behaved. She immediately knelt on the ground and bowed to Yu Wuxian. "Master, please accept this bow from your disciple." Good disciple, come with me to the floating island now. I'm going to show off to those guys." Yu Wuxian somewhat forgot herself and laughed heartily. Her whole body flickered with a magical radiance, and in a flash, she and Shi Shui disappeared from their original place. "Sigh, what a pity." Huang Yihe also let out a long sigh. With a flash of magical light, he disappeared from where he stood. After the two great elders of the demon fighting sect left, the gazes with which everyone looked at Yang Feng changed. Shi Shui's future prospects were limitless, and Yang Feng was no longer an ordinary level 2 warlock. "Since the matter has been settled, I'll take my leave first." Yang Feng smiled and left the demon fighting sect with Kong Feng Ao. Kong Feng Ao said with a smile, "Yang Feng, since you've already arrived at the demon fighting sect, then I'll take my leave first. Let's meet again. If you have time, come to the Green Province's Tianmu County. Our Kong family has a bit of status there. If you come, I'll definitely show you the hospitality of a host." Yang Feng replied, "All right." After the two separated, Yang Feng found an inn in the demon-fighting city. Early the next morning, Yang Feng once again went to the demon-fighting sect's external office. Han Ning greeted him with great enthusiasm. "Yang Feng, you're early. Come with me." Yang Feng said with a smile, "Good morning, senior disciple Brother Han." After exchanging pleasantries, Han Ning took Yang Feng into an elevator-like magic staircase and pressed the 100th floor button. With a flicker of magic radiance, the door of the magic staircase opened, and Yang Feng and Han Ning appeared on the 100th floor. Han Ning gave Yang Feng a detailed introduction. "This is the great library that can be used by the demon-fighting sect's disciples in name. Here, there are a variety of level 1 to level 4 spell models, as well as a variety of knowledge from countless different planes and many secret methods. The common knowledge of the Feisua plane is also here. Among the countless knowledge here, the one I recommend the most is the demon-fighting sect's fundamental secret method, the demon-fighting heaven-suppressing record. This is the demon-fighting sect's strongest secret method. There are only 4 layers of the demon-fighting heaven-suppressing record here, which can only be practiced until the Great Warlock realm. In the future, if you can complete the assessment and join the demon-fighting sect, then you'll have the opportunity to learn the next few layers of the secret method." Yang Feng looked at the great library and saw that it covered an area of about 5 square kilometers. Obviously, a powerful warlock had cast a spatial spell on it. Within that area of 5 square kilometers, there were countless bookshelves with books neatly arranged on them. In the center of the great library, there was a magic crystal ball with a diameter of about 1 meter suspended in the air and engraved with countless mysterious runes. Han Ning said, "That's the great library's index crystal, as well as the library's administrator. You can use the index crystal to quickly find all kinds of information you want. The specific way to use it is to walk within 5 meters of it and then silently recite the information you want in your mind." Yang Feng went before the index crystal and mused, "I need the demon-fighting heaven-suppressing record." With a flicker of magic radiance, a book flew out from the countless bookshelves and flew into Yang Feng's hand. Han Ning said with a smile, "All right, Yang Feng, I won't disturb your study. Work hard." Yang Feng said, "Thank you, senior disciple Brother Han." After Han Ning left, Yang Feng sat to one side and began to study while using the smart microchip installed on his glasses to scan those books into his database. In the great library, Yang Feng practically forgot to eat and sleep as he studied all the information related to the Feisua plane. He was very clear that the information was related to the future safety and development of his embodiment. 10 days later, in a cultivation secret room of a luxurious hotel, Yang Feng sat cross-legged on a jade bed, surrounded by the remains and ashes of top-notch magic stones. The green life embodiment beads suspended in the air in front of Yang Feng and blossomed with resplendent radiance. Yang Feng suddenly opened his eyes and spat out a stream of blood essence along with 3 golden specks of light that entered the life embodiment bead. After losing the stream of blood essence, Yang Feng's complexion became extremely pale. He promptly picked up a vial of elixir beside him and poured it into his mouth. After drinking the vial of elixir, Yang Feng's complexion became a lot better. He silently chanted, and rays of magic light condensed around his body. A soul seed flew out from between his eyebrows in a strange manner. Below the soul seed, there were countless fine lines extending, with each fine line having a small sphere. With a closer look, one could see that the small spheres were spell models. As soon as the soul seed appeared, it slowly split into 2 halves. Along with the splitting of the soul seed, Yang Feng felt as if he had been split into 2 halves, feeling extremely painful. However, he still forcefully endured the pain with great willpower. After the soul seed split into 2 halves, 1 half flew into the life embodiment bead along with the countless spell models. The life embodiment bead trembled slightly, twisted continuously, changed rapidly, and finally condensed into a person that looked exactly like Yang Feng. Even the soul fluctuations were the same. When Yang Feng's embodiment took shape, an extremely novel feeling was suddenly born in Yang Feng's true body. It was as if there were 2 of him existing in this world at the same time. This was different from when he used the consciousness conduction helmet. When he used the consciousness conduction helmet, he was still a consciousness. When he possessed the robots, his true body would fall into an unconscious state. But now, he had two independent consciousnesses existing in this world, and both consciousnesses were him. Yang Feng's embodiment sighed slightly. This feeling is really wonderful, as if there are two of me existing at the same time. Yang Feng's true body said, "It's really wonderful. No wonder even if it is as strong as a god, if their godhead isn't high enough, they still can't split into more embodiments. Without the support of a godhead, if one has too many embodiments, they will definitely suffer from schizophrenia and become a psychopath. Gods could also split into embodiments, but generally speaking, gods with feeble divine force rank would only split into one embodiment. That was because their godhead couldn't support the existence of more embodiments." Yang Feng's true body said, "Scan me." Yang Feng, basic attributes, strength 1. 1, agility 1. 3, physique 1. 2, spirit 1. 6, blood meridians, pure human blood meridians. Soul aptitude, superior level 6. General evaluation, classified as a level 0 life form. Evolution potential, great. Note, because the host's soul has just split, the soul is in a weak state. It is recommended to practice the true mystic embodiment scripture to restore your soul force. Before your soul force is fully restored, it is not advisable to practice cultivation as a warlock. After Yang Feng used the true mystic embodiment scripture to pour all of his power into the embodiment, his true body once again became an ordinary person. However, he now had infinite evolution possibilities, laying a solid foundation for recultivating on the warlock path. Moreover, the wealth he collected in the Tyrannid subcontinent was enough for him to recultivate and easily evolve into an official warlock. Moreover, the knowledge grasped by the embodiment was equivalent to the knowledge grasped by Yang Feng's true body. Thus, it was equivalent to having two people practicing cultivation and learning at the same time, which was simply heaven-defying. It was precisely because of this that a treasure like the life embodiment bead was so precious, priceless, and could only be encountered but not sought. Chapter 201. After separating an embodiment, Yang Feng's true body and embodiment simultaneously began to read all the information about the Feisua plane, learning continuously. Time passed, and 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. Yang Feng arrived at the demon-fighting sect's external office. The one in charge of receiving him was still Han Ning. When Han Ning saw Yang Feng arrive, his eyes flashed with a touch of unwillingness. He wanted to say something but then hesitated. Finally, he gave a long sigh and said, "Come with me." The difficulty of a level 2 warlock entering the Feisua plane, a primary material plane that could contend with the Xianxia plane, and killing a demigod rank expert could be well imagined. The demon-fighting sect set up such an assessment mission in order to recruit peak experts above the Starry Sky warlock rank. At the same time, it was also to eliminate a large number of silk pants who used their family's power to help hunt demigod rank freaks. Even great warlocks would find it very difficult to complete such an assessment mission, let alone a level 2 warlock like Yang Feng. Yang Feng followed Han Ning to the top floor of the demon-fighting sect's external office. After passing through a teleportation array, they appeared in front of a huge palace. In front of the huge palace, there was a golden gate. In front of the golden gate sat 2 old men, one fat and one thin. Yang Feng looked at the 2 old men with a glance, and his pupils constricted slightly. He couldn't sense the life force emitted by the 2 old men. This showed that even without using secret methods, the 2 old men could completely restrain their life force, making people feel that they were ordinary people. Han Ning said respectfully to the 2 old men, "Elder Luo Zheng, Elder Luo Ming, this is Yang Feng. He wants to go to the Feisua plane to participate in the assessment." The thin old man didn't open his eyes. The fat old man opened his eyes, and 2 divine lights shot out of his eyes and swept Yang Feng. A feeling of being seen through instantly pervaded Yang Feng's body. The fat old man threw a gray jade card to Yang Feng and said lightly, "This is a return jade card. After completing the mission, crush this jade card, and we'll find a way to pick you up. However, it won't be instantaneous. If you don't complete the mission and crush this jade card, only death awaits you. Yang Feng took the jade card and said, "Yes, I understand." The fat old man closed his eyes. Kakaka. Amidst the loud noises, the golden door slowly opened, revealing a wide and deep planar path that stretched as far as the eye could see. Yang Feng stepped into the planar passageway. A formidable spatial force enveloped Yang Feng in a flash, and a dizzy feeling of dizziness flooded his mind. Once the dizziness disappeared, Yang Feng heaved a long sigh. He discovered that he was already on top of a desolate hilltop. Yang Feng carefully sized up the surroundings for a while and mused, "So cautious. In order to prevent me from discovering the exit of the planar passageway, they set up a random teleportation array at the end of the planar passageway and teleported me here." The Feisua plane has countless gods. At the time, the 6th Warlock dynasty had subdued the gods of this plane, and their mechanical legion had been seen by them. If I use the mechanical army and nuclear bombs on a large scale in this world, it will attract their attention, and then it will be over. Yang Feng silently calculated in his heart. The Feisua plane was different from the Tyrannid subcontinent, as this plane had gods. Each of the countless gods possessed terrifying might, greatly limiting the might of Yang Feng's mechanical legion, making it impossible for him to unleash a large number of mechanical legions to fight the gods. Otherwise, the gods of the Feisua plane might unite to deal with him. Yang Feng silently recited an incantation and pointed at the sky. A magic radiance flickered, and a huge eye formed in the sky, observing the area within a radius of dozens of kilometers. Yang Feng's eyes lit up slightly, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. "Found it, there's a city over there." Yang Feng's figure changed slightly, and he turned into a blonde, blue-eyed, and tall Westerner. The Feisua plane was a plane dominated by Westerners, and the human gods were basically Westerners. At present, Yang Feng didn't have the strength to challenge that terrifying power. Yang Feng walked along a muddy road covered in dust and livestock excrement for about 5 kilometers, before a city with a 10-meter-tall city wall appeared in front of him. In front of the city stood 8 Western human warriors. They were not wearing any armor, had deep eyes, high noses, and fair skin, and were about to collapse their swords. The captain of the 8 warriors stepped forward and stopped Yang Feng, saying, "Stop, please show me your identity document." On the Feisua plane, the human world was divided into 4 classes: slaves, subjects, freedmen, and aristocrats. Slaves and subjects of lords couldn't freely leave the territory of lords. Only freedmen and aristocrats could freely travel throughout the continent. Yang Feng snorted coldly, spread the fingers of his hand, and a flame suddenly appeared in his hand. "Wizard, I'm sorry, Your Honorable Excellency, please forgive me for offending you." When the captain saw the flame in Yang Feng's hand, his complexion suddenly changed greatly, and he bowed and said respectfully. The rest of the warriors looked at Yang Feng with a touch of respect in their eyes. On the Feisua plane, wizards were lofty existences, and their status was comparable to that of aristocrats. They could freely travel throughout the world. Many aristocrats took pride in being able to recruit a wizard to serve them. Moreover, on the Feisua plane, the number of wizards was very small. Out of 100,000 people, there might not even be one wizard. "This is my power, my own power." Yang Feng looked at the 8 respectful warriors, and a touch of pleasure welled up inside him. On the Tyrannid subcontinent, relying on the tremendous power of the Shizu Mechanical Legion, Yang Feng defeated countless powerful enemies, and finally unified the entire Tyrannid subcontinent and became its king. However, he was very clear that it was mainly by relying on the power of the Mechanical Legion that he achieved that step. But now, on the Feisua plane, the power he possessed was enough to make people revere him. This feeling made him somewhat unable to stop, and he was very pleased. "Get lost, you lowly commoners. Quickly make way for Master Wizard to enter the city." A warrior immediately berated the farmers and merchants waiting to enter the city, driving them away and making way for Yang Feng. Yang Feng entered the city. In the city, the roads were extremely muddy, Livestock's excrement could be seen everywhere, and there was a lot of dust. Most of the buildings in the city were made of wood, exuding a backward and ancient aura of the Western Middle Ages. Yang Feng swept the city with a glance and frowned slightly. This is the Feisua plain that can contend with the Xianxia plain? This is unbelievable. This human city couldn't even compare to many cities in the backward places like the Turandot subcontinent. Yang Feng arrived in front of a mermaid and bear bar, pushed the door open, and entered. As soon as he entered the bar, Yang Feng saw burly mercenaries gulping down alcohol and eating meat, while uttering vulgar words and flirting with the waitresses in the bar. Yang Feng went to the bartender who was mixing drinks in front of the counter, and with a light flick, a gold coin drew a beautiful parabola and fell in front of the bartender. Yang Feng said, "I want to go to the Reject City, so I need an experienced and reputable mercenary group to escort me. Tell me, what's a reasonable price to hire such a mercenary group?" The bartender smiled and put away the gold coin. "It depends on the number of people you hire. From the Wood Speech City to the Reject City, it's about 10 days' journey. The journey isn't too dangerous, and paying 3 silver coins per person per day is already enough. Of course, the more reputable and stronger mercenary groups, the higher the price." The common currency of the Feisua plain was gold coins. 1 gold coin equals 10 silver coins equals 1,000 copper coins. "Hey, young man, hire our bear strength mercenary group. Our mercenary group has 10 good lads, each of whom is a seasoned mercenary." A burly man with a bear-like build and a big beard strode towards Yang Feng and said with a hearty laugh, "For each of us, you only need to pay 5 silver coins per day." A middle-aged man with a thin figure and a gloomy temperament between his eyebrows came over and said with a smile towards Yang Feng, "Hello, I'm Lek, the leader of the Storm Wolves mercenary group. Our Storm Wolves mercenary group has 13 members. For each of us, you only need to pay 2 silver coins per day, and you'll be able to get the services of the 13 members of the Storm Wolves mercenary group to safely escort you to the Reject City." A beautiful woman with a height of 1.8 meters, wheat-colored skin and regular facial features, who was much taller than many men, strode towards Yang Feng and said, "Mister, please hire our White Lily mercenary group. Our White Lily mercenary group only has 5 people, but it's the mercenary group with the best reputation in the Wood Speech City. There's no record of us going back on our word. For each of us, you only need to pay 8 silver coins per day, and we'll do our best to protect you." Lek's face stiffened. As if a viper, he stared at the beautiful woman with a tall figure and said coldly, "Katie, what's the meaning of this?" Katie said with a cold smile, "What do I mean? You're well aware of it." Yang Feng had read a lot of information about the Feisua plain and knew that there were all sorts of people among mercenaries. Many mercenaries would normally do normal business, but would secretly kill their employers. If choosing a mercenary group wasn't suitable, then it would definitely be courting death. Yang Feng said with a slight smile, "There's no need to fight over it. I think that beautiful women are better. The White Lily mercenary group is fine." Once he said that, the leader of the Bear Strength mercenary group gave Yang Feng a somewhat odd look, then gave a chuckle, turned around, and returned to his mercenary group. The bartender also gave Yang Feng a somewhat odd look, but remained silent. Lek gave a cold smile and said meaningfully, "Good, good, good. You're on your own." Welcome to Legends of Cultivation, audiobooks, where we bring ancient fantasy to life through storytelling. Follow the rise of heroes who defy fate, unlock mystical powers, and battle across celestial realms. Our audiobooks are crafted for fans of Chinese cultivation novels, filled with battles, breakthroughs, and legendary artifacts. Subscribe and be part of an unforgettable journey into the realm of immortality.